Welcome, everyone, to a very special session here at UinDhi as a part of our ongoing series, Own In, Be It. Priya and I are absolutely thrilled to welcome Mrinalini Kher, who took over Kherwadi Social Welfare Association's operational activities back in 1998, together with Kishore Kher, and started the Yuva Parivartan Movement. This movement was started to guide the unmotivated school dropouts and to help them in becoming economically independent by imparting livelihood skills to them. In the year 2003, the movement was formally launched by the then President of India, APJ Abdul Kalam. The main objective of Yuva Parivartan was to mobilize youth and provide livelihood training to enable more number of youth to become financially independent and lead a productive life. In one line, if I were to tell you what Yuva Parivartan means, it means transformation of youth. The movement brings the unmotivated school dropouts from the underprivileged background and gives them a direction to lead economically independent lives through vocational training. Moving to our guest, Mrinalini Kher was born into a family with integrity and a passion to work for others. Her husband always encouraged and supported her to take up challenges. A passionate social worker by choice, Mrinalini has been working tirelessly in the social welfare sector for over 20 years and is one of the most dedicated resources of the Yuva Parivartan team. She's a firm believer in the empowerment of women who she believes are responsible for strengthening families, particularly in the economically backward societies of the country. For the last 25 years, she has served as an honorary secretary and trustee of Kherwadi Social Welfare Association. Today, Yuva Parivartan is one of the largest NGOs in the field of livelihoods with a national presence in 16 states. She currently leads various activities of Yuva Parivartan in the livelihoods space. Her work includes implementing the Yuva Parivartan Institute for Entrepreneurship Development that conducts skilling programs for the government and the corporate sectors. Mrinalini was closely associated with the Spastic Society. She has done honorary work with the Seva Southern Society Gamdevi Orphanage and is also honorary secretary and trustee of the Inner Wheel Club of Bombay, trustee of Blue Star Foundation. Welcome, Mrinalini, and thank you for taking the time out to be with us here at UinDhi. We are extremely delighted to have you with us. In this, and at every point, I'm guessing you've had different kind of journey or different kind of difficulty to tackle, and it was a different move. What has been, if I ask you today to look back and say your biggest learning through all these years? One learning which is like really sticking to you even today.
Oh my God, you should have asked me this before, so I would have thought about it overnight. Because there's so many learnings you've seen in my TED talk. Yeah, the learnings. I mean, the learning means getting aware of the situation of these families and the lack of opportunity. The biggest challenge or learning is that when we ask them, it's unbelievable for people who are out of India when Bombay and Bangalore, Delhi are so overcrowded to still know that 70% of India's population still lives in the villages. And they are the ones and there are about 600,000 villages in India. And we have reached about 6,000 villages. So, I mean, it's a long journey. So I always say that if you believe in rebirth, and if I've come back after 5 births, the issue of school dropouts will
remain. Yeah.
Yeah, because till the education system is hauled up, till that kind of caringness comes for mentoring students and the quality of education, or more than the quality, the way we talk to our students, how we teach everybody would be where then the change would come. So there's a long road for that. And finding jobs, their attitude, the way why they don't come out of their shells, why they have so much low self-esteem, so many issues, mental, physical, and socio-economical challenges that they face. you have to go and live in their mind to understand those,
Mm, mm,
And this is from the top. Doing it doesn't help. It is about the thing. There's so much. Every time we find a new challenge, and we have to cross that bridge when it comes. So Yuva Parivartan cannot be a fixed. This is our plan, and this is our
mm,
strategy, and this is for the next 5 years.
mm,
It will change every year. Strategy will change because our staff on the ground in this remote villages or the districts and the talukas come back to us ki this might work in Bombay or a Delhi or a Bangalore, but it will not work in this village.
mm,
Because there are so many complex issues in the villages about religion, caste, subcaste, their
mm,
economic class, their social class. All these are, you have to be sensitive about them. And
mm,
in the villages, these are I always call them the invisible boundaries.
mm,
Whether they are in Bombay, they have been in the towns, and they are in the villages. Bombay boundaries, invisible boundaries, or I call them borders. You know, you will not believe it, but I was working in one big slum behind the World Trade Center at Kulaba. And we had a center, and we were encouraging girls to come from one another mohalla to this mohalla, to where our center was. She said, no, we don't cross beyond this line. I said, ये क्या है, ये border है हमारे लिए, उसके आगे we cannot go. Our parents will not allow, and then the boys in that area will tease us. They might, do things, harm us. So there's so much fear that they don't cross those invisible
mm,
borders and boundaries. So this happens in a city like Bombay. You see
mm,
only the vibrant and the modern
mm.
and ultra modern
Glamorous,
city.
yeah, the
Yeah,
glamour of it,
glamorous.
yeah, yeah.
This is the other side. I mean, every city has that. You have
Mm,
one
mm.
lane, Sunset Boulevard, and the lane behind is a
Yeah,
this thing for the
the
ghetto.
for drugs and everything. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, exactly.
So that, yeah. So you have to always look beyond that. What is the facade? You have to look beyond that, and
Mm,
that is where we struggle to reach out to. Our biggest effort is to reach out, not miss out anybody.
mm. And you started this journey. I know there is a social cause and an impact, and you wanted to make this change, and you wanted to reach out to the maximum youth and bring out this change. Personally, as an individual, I know that you have always been passionate to make a change and work on social causes. Did you feel or did you find yourself changing as you were working for all these different changes?
Oh yes, you won't believe. I mean, I always tell my daughters and my friends, the best way to allow your child to grow is to ask her to leave the house. Moment you
Yeah.
leave the four walls of your house, the way you grow, the way you mature, and the way you learn and see life at a different. The fear was there, but you won't believe. From school to college, I moved from one hostel to the other. My school friends couldn't recognize me. They said, this is not the same Mrinalini. She's a different person completely. Because coming to Bombay, living in a hostel, and you meet such a cross sections of people from northeast to south to north, everywhere. That was the wonderful part of Bombay, is that you meet such a
Mm,
cosmopolitan crowd. So learn to accept, learn to, learn about them. And this adds to your personality. Every little experience, whether it's learning to how to cross a road in Bombay, to, traveling by bus or a train, everything emboldens you. And you don't even realize it there that time, that, what you are learning. And those learnings about uh, people, and my obsession and my love is to observe people.
mm.
So I never get bored on any journeys. I used to travel by train 24 hours to Bangalore. In those days, flight was like out of the question that time. 24 hours, and everybody said, you must have been tearing your hair out and so boring. I said, no, I enjoyed it because, the people, their language, their food, their habits. And then you ask them, because I can talk and I immediately make friends, So whether there was, LGBT, you won't believe. I mean, I had a full 24-hour journey with an LGBT person right in front, and we were such good friends. We exchanged recipes, and all these things add to your, you want to help them, you want to do something for them. That is why, whether it was, I always say, whether it's bar dancers, you want to help commercial sex workers, their children, everybody is welcome. Let us reach out to all kinds of sections of society. And this kind of meeting people and, chatting with them and all that, I was so scared in school and college rather to see an LGBT, and you would run away because they would be asking you for arms and, all that kind of thing. And then all that turned to empathy and understanding. The moment I went into social work, that is what happened. It is my way of looking at people changed. You want to know more about them, their language, their habits, where do they come from, their origins, what do they think about something. So, and it is fascinating that how you keep on learning about whether it is in, and all these add to your personality. You start accepting, you are, you accept people, you enjoy meeting people, you are hungry to learn about people. And this thing, then, when you interact with people, you come to know, everywhere it's not, you are not welcome everywhere. Sometimes people are jealous of you. You are somebody's jealous of you. Somebody doesn't like your face. Somebody hates your look, everything. So you understand. And, earlier, my God, all that kind of thing. And then you react. Of course, I'll never talk to her and all those childish things that you change. I mean, she has every right. Why should everybody like me? So somebody doesn't like you, you realize that, yes, I have some faults that she doesn't like. So then, that helps you to change and look at yourself also, kuch to hoga that she doesn't like in me. So what is it? Did I act proud, or did I show off, or, anything, the way my language, everything starts getting your attention. Your expressions, your body language, everything starts changing as you learn and more, meet more, you grow up. You really mentally you grow up, And I remember I was newly married, and I said, this is the best time of your life. And one lady had told me, she was there it was the cookery class I used to go to. She told me, you all are foolish girls. You're 22 and, all honeymoon stage. She said, you all are foolish girls. You don't know. Life begins at 50. Then is the great fun of life is, when you've experienced it. And, that lady, I don't even remember her name, but it was one thing that stuck in my mind. And I realized that as you grow, as you every year, and I said, yes, it does add to your value that everybody, you are more confident of yourself, you can face the world, and that maturity is of a different kind,
And it comes from real experience. It comes from ground level experience. So you've tasted it, you've felt it, you've lived it. So tell me about this. So one side of the work is like you have a collaboration and you work with so many people who need help. So that's one side of the society. And then you partner with different organizations, the corporate sectors, and the funding and that comes from the government, and to get the government recognition. How difficult is it, or what is the support structure in India for work like Yuva Parivartan? Are they very supportive, or do you really have to work hard to get their support?
See, everybody has to work out. Even the biggest of the NGOs who might be earning 10 times more than us per year, annual budgets maybe double of us or more, much more. Each one has to work hard. But in the beginning, when we started it, there was no government recognition. What has come as corporate social responsibility came only about 10 years back or 8 years back. And people criticized it and they hated it and they thought it was a compulsion that it should not be given. But as people accepted it and all that, now they are seeing the sense of it. It gives you a direction. And it's not that they are forcing you to give it to this cause or that cause. You have to choose your own memorandum of objectives. And corporate India earlier was very small minded. I want my my money, my donation to be seen right in front of me. So it is in your backyard, near my factory, near my office, my factory is in so and so town, maybe whatever, 100 miles away. I want the CSR only to be done, or not CSR, whatever, my foundation money to be used only there. So those kind of things were there. And that was very self-objective, was for their own interest. That has changed. People are more understanding now, though we have the same difficulty of asking for money in rural India. Now, rural India is where the youth need a direction, a livelihood option. Problem with rural India is there are no livelihood options in the rural area. There is not much industry. We are not talking of a big town or even a peri-urban town or a small town. It is even lesser than that. We are talking of villages where the population is 500, 1,000. And in those, there would be youth that will be maximum 30, 40, 50 youth. And in 1 or 3 months, we have trained all those youth. But getting them a livelihood, making them to understand or the importance of moving out 5-10 kilometers, because there are industrial areas where they could get jobs. But in villages, people live in clusters very close to each other. It's in fact, your housing complexes now are very much like a village structure. Everybody is hugging each other. Everybody's door is not even 1 meter away from 2 meters away from your house, your door. So that kind of security is what they are used to in a village setting. And then they find it very difficult to move out. And it is also money. When I'll give you an example. When this is right in the beginning, and everybody said, oh, if you want to give employment to youth, they must know English. So when, at that time, so English speaking was started. Later on, we dropped it because we realized that the type of jobs that our people are going to get is the way the local man speaks the local language, whether it is a foundry or a small carpentry shop or in a little dhaba or a local restaurant, he need not know English. And whatever English that is there we teach in the areas like hospitality, but not required in our type of. So that time when they asked, they were all Bombay boys, and one old man used to come, senior citizen used to come and teach. And something happened, and he was talking about Gateway of India and the fountain area, something like that. And the boys and the girls said, "What are you talking about?" So he said, "Arey, apna Bombay ka Gateway of India. We have never seen it." Then how long are you here? We are here. I've been born here. I've been in this city for 20, 22 years, but we have never moved beyond it because going in a family to Gateway of India means about 100 rupees for traveling by train, then buying something there, buying a ticket, maybe buying some snacks. It would mean a burden of 100, 200 rupees for a family. While his earning may be only 10,000 in those days. So you cannot afford to spend 200-300 rupees for a trip. So that is another learning that, we came that let's go for a movie today. I mean, we just don't even think, let's go. Where is the movie? It is in Thane. That's the only theater which is about 40 kilometers away. But we just get into the car, And we drive because we don't think about the money that is involved. You're spending maybe 1,000 rupees by to go to Thane and back. But for that, everything counts. And then we realized that we were offering a boy in a tribal area. He had done well, and he was getting a job for 8,000 in those days. I'm talking about 15, 18 years back. And he said, I can't go because the bus will cost me something 5 rupees or 5 rupees per day to go and 5 rupees to come back. So 10 rupees I cannot afford. Plus food in the morning, all these issues we don't
We don't
think.
think, but there's a, yeah,
Yeah,
but
so
there's a
that is when and women's safety is another issue.
big issue. Yeah.
We go by car, we go with a group, you have your father, mother, even as children. There, the girls drop out of school because the school is 3 kilometers away from the village. She has to walk alone. She doesn't have a father or a brother to drop her by a car or a scooter, she has to walk alone because they have gone on the field. These are real life situations there. And so the first thing father says, she can't walk alone. उसका safety बहुत मालूम नहीं, बहुत danger है. छोड़ दो school. So right from the second and third standard, she drops out of school. And she gets into milking the cow or taking the cows for
Domestic,
grazing,
yeah.
domestic. So this is, you have to literally go mentally and live in a village to understand.
Understand, yeah. And it's very easy to say, well, you know what, every girl child should get an education, but then the whole, when you go there, you see that it's not possible because,
Not
even if
possible.
you want to. So is there where you work very closely with the government, or who do you work with on these
No,
issues very closely
no.
with?
We work with the local people.
Okay.
Government does not, because government, as I said in my earlier talk, government has certain standard rules which they are not breaking the mold of. A course has to be 1 year, 3 years. It has to be an 8-hour sessions. Every day the boy or girl has to come at 9 or 10, like we did, in school. We didn't even think of all those things. And your parents are there to back you. So you go through 10, 12 years of school, then another 4 years of college, and another 10 years of whatever, all those education. We don't even blink an eye and think about it. But for them to invest that kind of money for their child, even if they love their child, it's not that they don't love their child. They don't have that. They don't have the capacity to invest so much in, and that's why it's forced on them to drop them out, and it is heartbreaking because a mother does have a dream that, I have not gone to school. मैंने कभी school देखा नहीं, but मेरी बेटी पढ़ेगी. And that is there in every woman's heart. She wants her daughter. It's not that she's heartless or she's really, but she's not capable because she cannot support. She doesn't have economic independence to pay for her daughters. That's why today's maids are working. Women are working. Even my maid works only for her 2 daughters' education. That kind of desire and so much focus is there on the women today that I never went to school. My father was a drunkard. He never sent us to school. And my mother was helpless. But I will see that my daughters. So they don't mind working in 4, 5 homes, and you know how it is. I mean, like in the foreign abroad sense, you would be a housekeeper. The girl, lady who comes in for the house, works for 1 hour and goes by her car to another house. But she's also struggling. She has to make 2 ends meet for her own house. So it's the same situation. It's only the context is different.
Yeah.
Every
It's the same.
society, the very topmost New York, Manhattan, or it is our village in Haryana or Maharashtra. Same
It's the
things.
same.
I can immediately give you lots of examples, for everything. That's what I
No,
think.
that's true. And I know that you Yuva Parivartan now is in 16 states in India, and I know you have a vision of replicating this model worldwide. So what is it? 16 states, has it expanded, or what is the vision outside India?
No, outside India, I'll tell you that. We had dreams of this because we thought it's a very replicable model. And I was not thinking of the world or anything like that, more Africa where it could be used, or,
Hmm.
places like Bangladesh or
Hmm.
Sri Lanka.
Similar to
Like,
India in the context.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But one person said, once I said, we have dreams that this model could even go abroad. So I said, isn't one India enough for you? You can work here 100 years and you would not have conquered the whole of India. Why do you have to worry about the other world? Just worry about your own country. And it was like a slap on my face. And I felt
Mm,
so hurt
mm.
that, somebody had to say this. And this was at a party over this thing, and I felt like, I said, no, I will never talk about international again. There's so much in India to do, from Kashmir to whatever, Kanyakumari to
Yeah.
Rajasthan. There's so much. And not one NGO like Yuva Parivartan. You need thousands and thousands. And that's why
Mm,
we are replicating it, not with government help, because as I said, government only has those standard formats of 6 months, 1 year, 3 years. While we had to
cater
completely
it more.
abandon,
Yeah.
and we had to be innovative to suit the local people. So I'll give you one example of an NGO that wanted to educate schooling of gypsies. These
Mm,
are gypsies called Lamanis. They're gypsies only. Lamanis, they're called. They have sheep, and they move from small village to village. And farmers give them money to keep their sheep overnight in their compound on their farm, so that the droppings add nitrogen to their farm, to their soil. Now, these Lamanis move from, so their children never go to school. So, you know what this NGO thought of? That the teacher moved with them.
mm.
So the
That's
teacher,
nice. Yeah.
every day, the teacher would take the children to under the tree and teach them their 3 hours, while the parents did other work. So
Mm,
now that is what is innovation for India. It is
yeah.
ground. You have to see the reality
Mm,
there. And that's
mm,
why our courses are to match them. Now we have a 3 months course for 2 hours every day.
mm,
That was what we found, that 180 hours of training with little more practical, less theory, is suitable for the city dwellers. They don't want anything that looks like a school or
mm,
feels like a school.
mm,
8 hours is school, and they hated it. So we did that. Now we went into the villages, and we found in the villages who don't need 3 months training. They need only maybe 1 month and about 60, 50, 60 hours. And that just mentally prepares them to go out in the world and works with somebody for 8, 10 hours.
mm.
And the mental preparation is what is required. It's like when you go to do your Harvards and all that. The rigor itself of the training course prepares you for the corporate world, where you can
Yeah.
work. You have to need to work 18 hours, or
Mm,
and face the hard competition
mm,
amongst the colleagues. That prepares. So this is what we have to prepare these youth in the villages to be ready for a job which is near his place, show him the outside world mentally. And so our courses are 1 month and 60 hours, 2 hours per day or whatever, because he has to graze the cattle, milk the
and do
cows,
other
maybe
work.
do
Yeah.
something, help the father on his field or a farm or whatever. He has the shop. So these are the needs of the local village. You can't say, I'm taking your son now for 3 months and he's going to be in this center for 8 hours a day. His mother, his father will all object.
Yeah.
Let that, because when you ask them, they say education का ये पढ़ाई का कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ता है. because it doesn't prepare you for a job. It doesn't
mm,
prepare you for anything in life.
mm.
What they learn up to 8, 9, 10th, it doesn't prepare them. So he said, what is my son capable of? After going to school for 8 years, he still doesn't know anything. So his father prefers that he works with him on his farm or in his shop and then teaches him. So the value of education has not seeped down to the lower classes, where money is more important than education.
That's true. And they have to get the ends meet. I mean, you can't really think through an empty stomach. I mean, you need to, you have to earn that money, and it's a highly competitive world as well. So what are the future plans for Yuva Parivartan, if I were to ask you today?
The ideal future would have been that we become an NGO that encourages people to form their own NGOs and carry on the work of Yuva Parivartan as their main objectives.
Mm,
We want more mini or NGOs like Yuva Parivartan following our model or working for the youth in skill development across the country. That was our, our dream. Well, while we get into uh, preparing for more courses, what courses would suit the new industry. The industry is changing, the people are not prepared to meet, the match, the skills they have don't match the industry's requirements nowadays.
mm,
So how do we prepare them for those
mm,
requirements? And this scenario is changing so rapidly.
mm,
What was basic computer skills, what was basic computer course was the most popular. Now we have to go into Tally and C plus and all those kind of things. So even if we have dropouts, is they have IQ. So they
mm.
may have studied only up to 8th, 10th, 12th or whatever, drop out of college, but they have good enough IQ to get into these courses. So that world has not reached the lower classes, the lower
Mm.
class of socio-economic class. So there's a lots to do for in that field, and we want these other NGOs to do it, and we could be the guide, the motivators, the people who provide them all their solutions, because you will not believe it, but the biggest problem, challenges, you will say, what are the challenges? Government, all this. No, our challenges is mobilizing people. You will not believe it. You put up a board and say, if you imagine some fancy international school says free education or at 50%, there would be a rush of our middle class, upper class people to put their children in their best school, And here we say free, reduced hours, job assistance, you can give them scholarships, you're teaching them practical, they're going to assist them in getting job, preparing. Nobody comes. To convince. So I remember youth in Bangalore, a lot of youth had got into this preparing, teaching English to engineering and college dropouts and preparing them for the BPO with guaranteed jobs, because BPOs in Bangalore employ thousands and 5,000 and 10,000 people.
People, yeah.
And they said, these 2, 3 young boys that had come to me asking, what should we do? We are frustrated, because they had started that NGO, given up their whatever working life, and they felt they should do something for the country. Young, 3 ambitious and passionate boys. And they started this 1 month English course, very fast learning and immediate jobs. Can you believe it? In those days, for these jobless youth, 10,000 a month guaranteed.
Mm.
And BPOs give you free food, lots of things.
Mm-hmm.
He says, there was no queue, there was nobody, there was no youth outside our gates. So, ma'am, what should we do? I said, you are asking me, I am still learning. And we keep learning how to mobilize youth, how to make them understand. And
Yeah.
in 2007, I think Kishore and I and the little team we had in those days, we had gone across the country to study NGOs and their models. And we could see that, everybody puts up a very brave front. Yeah, we are doing very well. But we could see that getting youth, even you offer it free on a platter, they are not going to
Not
take it.
interested. Yeah. Yeah.
Not interested. So how to make them? They are maybe going hungry. Just last week, somebody rang me up. My some Dhobi's son, his father has had a heart attack. His brother has had something else. They're literally going hungry. Even rice and dal is not being cooked. Can you get him a job? So immediately our two girls said, yes, there's a job, 12,000. He will get food and he will get accommodation also, or he'll get something. I don't want a job in that far. I want only up to 10 kilometers or something like that. So I told my friend, if he was really that hungry, wouldn't
Won't
you
you
go?
go? Yeah. Yeah.
So what to do with these children? Why isn't he saying yes? So these are
These
issues
are,
that
yeah.
our counseling and social impact department is only breaking their heads over as to why they don't want to do anything.
That's very interesting, because that's another thing that I found in the work that we do. We think like it's important and people should do a lot of inner work, and then you see there are no takers of it. You're only talking, and then nobody wants to listen to you, and you're like, but I really mean sense and I mean well, but nobody's listening, and you're like, I don't know why.
So as you always realize, you are speaking from your ideas, your view. You have not seen
Yeah.
their viewpoint. You are not.
Yeah.
That's why, we make it the point that our staff, then they join. We are so city and urban thinking. You have to go and
Go to
really live in
village.
that village to
Yes.
know what is going on in their head. As we
Yeah.
could open their head and see kya ho raha hai udhar. It is
Yeah.
an enigma, and it is really the biggest challenge as to why, you're there saying they're going hungry, you see them, but they're happy in that world. We think that, I should have an air conditioned home
Yeah.
and a
Yeah.
car and my, a lovely view house, or maybe I should be cooking all the fancy food in my house. That is my achievement, and I say I've arrived. But they don't
It
think
doesn't
like
matter.
that.
It doesn't matter to them. I think for them it's a
And they
complete,
don't
yeah.
know. They don't know.
Mm.
So that is what we only think from our point of view. I have gone to a donor. He said, I've got a lot of land in some Orissa or something, and I want to do something for my village. Will Yuva Parivartan work? I said, yes. What do you want? He said, I want that the village which is so bad, I want every village there should be no hut. It should be a 1-2 storied house. There should be a car outside his house. All his children should be going to school. His wife would be working in the house, educated, and the man would be earning 30, 40,000 per month. So I said, in a village where there's, you have to start with the education. No, we are doing education. We are giving them free food. We are giving them a school bag and some books and all that. I said, it's not that. For you to achieve, and maybe they don't want. They don't want your bungalow. They're happy in their
Mm.
hut that they have. They're cozy in their, It's like the rich man living, your president living in the White House saying that, everybody should live in a White House. Like, you know,
Yeah.
I have a 3-room lovely cottage by the sea and I'm very happy in it.
Yeah. No, I
That,
completely get it. I completely get
that
it.
is how. And we are too highly educated. We are so aware of what is happening in the US, in the Europes, in the Americas and all that. So we think that is the world that we should aspire for. And
But that's not. The truth is, like, you need to, if you're working at a ground level thing, you have to sort of go to the, go there and be a part of them in order to understand what needs changing and what is it that you can
yeah,
impact. So, Mrinalini Auntie, any last thoughts that you have, and Priya, if you have any last questions or last thoughts that you would like to share? I think let us
Priya, you can
have
ask.
Mrinalini. No, Auntie, I think I had a wonderful time listening to your vast experience through making such minute and on the reflective image over the years, such a large difference in people's life where they build. I mean, you have literally build people into sort of looking at what they need. Not everybody even understand, like even human beings, they
Yeah.
don't understand what is important for them. Being in a format, being in the way that traditions have followed, it's like living examples over the year, over the year, over the
Yeah.
year. So yes, I think
Yeah.
it was incredible to hear your journey, and there's a lot to
So
take back home.
yeah, main risks we took is that breaking all those standards set by government. Itna hi hona chahiye, utna hi hona chahiye. He said
Mm,
no. I mean, if school children, I remember history, geography, some class, something like that. We'd just go out and take our chairs. I remember in the second standard in Pune and go and be under the tree. Then the class is over in 10 minutes. You get bored. Then there were swings and rope climbing and oh, cha, bacho, you do what you want. Just there was no kind of open school. So much thing. It will be
yeah.
such fun. And I'll give you one example. My school, I mean, that was unique school. uh, we were in the second standard, and they wanted us to girls to learn because the boys used to go for boxing, and they said no, girls cannot go for boxing. So what will they do? Learn knitting. You know what we learned knitting on? The झाड़ू होता है ना, वो कड़क वाला झाड़ू,
Huh.
that those sticks we had to bring from home, the thicker part, and then we use them as knitting needles. And we had
Okay.
and then the teacher sharpened it with with a blade and made them into knitting needles. Now that kind of thing, and then you want to study nature, you want to know how the rain falls. You would go by bus into a field outside the outside Pune, that was, and watch everything, and see actually what is a stream, what is a brook, what is a small river. You don't Nobody knows these things. They only know the word river, and the streams and brooks was only in poetry. So
Right.
actually all those kind of things, so that innovations we have to bring even to these children, and what we learned is that you have to only prepare them for this and then put them on the job, and they learn on the job. So on the
Right.
job, uh, because I have asked even your IIMs and all those MBA colleges, after the children study, those boys, the most brilliant boys, get it in 2 years they're studying. After they join an organization, the corporate says we have to unlearn all that 2 years of bullshit in their head. So we have to remove all that, clean up that thing because they come with swollen
That's right,
heads.
actually.
Yeah, so
That's right.
you
No,
said we
that's
have
so right. Yeah. There's so
to,
much you learn on the job, which is definitely not a part of your academics, and then
yeah.
vice
So then
versa.
is it
What you
the
learn is
real?
never implemented.
Yeah, so the reality of the job is the best part. So when people said, no, you're turning out half, kachas, and the industry will never accept them. So then I asked, I said, do you want? He said, no, the small scale industry that we care for is the 93% is informal industry. And they say, we want these type who will come regularly. We want him to be regular and efficient, and we will teach him our way, what is required for our industry. Not, we don't want you
That's
to
right.
teach him more than this. So that is what learn and unlearn. So they have to unlearn. So we don't teach them much. We just prepare them to learn to behave at the workplace, behavior at the
Right.
workplace. And I'm on one of these posh committees giving galis, boxing, sab chalta hai in all the big corporates. So somebody did that posh. I said, no, it's not sexual harassment. It is only HR and behavior at the workplace, which I teach my Yuva Parivartan kids. how to behave at the workplace. So it's like that, you know. In fact, our
Yeah.
Soch Ka Parivartan, which is a mental, what to say, psychological and personality development course, which we have prepared ourselves, is called Soch Ka Parivartan. That has all these, and that we took the design from the IIM Ahmedabad. So, because they have a 2 month executive program, and they teach all
Hmm.
this. You know, about it's about low self-esteem, less confidence, interpersonal relationship, coping mechanisms, problem solving. And I'm asked, I said, do these boys know? They said, no, they none of them know how to cope up with the problem. So it's
Thank you so much
no,
for giving
welcome.
us this time, and also for we got to talk to Lakshmi and Neha. I know had issues, but we
Yeah,
did
yeah,
speak to Shomali, so that was
yeah.
incredible. And we wish
Yeah.
every single youth that comes to Yuva Parivartan all the very best. And I don't know how we can support like yet. I'm like I haven't formed an idea yet, but we would definitely like to be a part. And since Priya, my co-founder of this UND, is here, I think we definitely
Yeah.
would like to be a part of. This movement that you've started, and I
Thank
feel
you.
quite privileged that we got to share this space with you today. So thank you very much for your time. Thank
Thank
you,
you
and
very
thank you
all
everyone on call: Uma, Amit,
Thank you very
and
much.
Shomali,
all the
Neha.
best to your program. All the
Thank
best
you,
to you.
thank you.